Okay, so as I'm very quickly writing, drawing a 2-point perspective cityscape. Smiley face. Okay, so I forget that I'm going to be doing a narration over this, and this is me saying, please use a sharp pencil. And then I think, oh, maybe I should write it. And don't forget to use a ruler. Think of how many times I've said ruler's the enemy in art, and now I'm saying use one. Okay, so we start with our vanishing points and horizon line. And I'm drawing out my frame to make sure it fits in the bit that you can see, so I'm not drawing off camera. But I do that later by accident. Okay. And I'm choosing to have my horizon line at about the halfway point, slightly above halfway if I'm looking there. Now when I'm making up a scene like this, because this is completely from imagination, I find if I put a very light grid out, so again I'm pressing hard enough that you guys can see, but light enough that it can be rubbed out easily. And this just gives me a grid to sit things on, because I'm going to do skyscrapers and maybe a road. So it just gives me the foundations to build on. And then I have to remember to keep all my uprights, my vertical lines, nice and parallel. They look like they're on an angle because my paper's slightly skew-whiff, isn't it? So every time I draw anything, if it's an upright, it's beautifully straight. And then I use my vanishing points for the angles to show the perspective. And when I'm comfortable with the line, I press on a little bit harder so you can see it's there to stay. So now I'm building up the right hand side of the image. I've created a little space in between as if it's the two sides of the road. Bring some height into it. Imagining some of the buildings, a bit like the Sears Tower in Chicago, where they've got a few layers coming up off them. Interesting fact, the Sears Tower in Chicago was designed when the architect was sitting thinking and in a meeting offered his friend a cigarette, and as he tapped out the cigarettes from the box, they came out in such a funny angle, a staggered layer. He thought that looks kind of cool. So yeah, that grid system that I was just talking about there, that's another cool fact, is when they were designing, the city planners were designing New York and Brooklyn, they were visiting Liverpool and Birkenhead and thought, well, this grid system works well, we like this, maybe we'll take that home. And I've just made a mistake there. Yeah, spotted it. So yeah, they designed New York based on the city of Liverpool. And Liverpool is twinned with New York as well, and others, but New York. Okay, so again, building off a few layers. One of the tasks I would like you to do is make sure that you include a pyramid and an arch. So here's me putting my pyramid in. The designer of this building, aka me, decides it would not like to have a flat roof, it would like a pyramid roof. So you saw me create my square corner to corner at the bottom, not a square. Now I'm rubbing it out, but that gave me the centre for where the upright went for the middle, the inside of that square base pyramid. So it's all drawn into 2-point perspective. And now I'm drawing my arch. So deciding the height of the arch. Now it's sitting over the horizon line, isn't it? So it's not going to be too extreme. But again, I'm spotting a couple of changes I'd like to make, so rubbing them out. Keep your lines light, and rubbing out is no big deal. Okay, drawing my cross. Middle point. There's the arch. And then I can get rid of my guidelines. Now I'm just deciding the depth of the arch, not too much, and rubbing out any bits I don't need. That's to figure out the back end of the arch, even though it won't be able to be seen. I need it for the perspective of the thickness on that right hand side, and then I can get rid of bits I don't want, giving a bit more height on that one, remembering to go off to my opposite side vanishing point, and a few more buildings just to fill that space. And I think actually a little triangle would be, so I take my middle line that wasn't quite rubbed out. And you can't see the right hand side because it literally is that close to the horizon line. Okay. And then another couple of buildings before I think about adding a sidewalk. Keep those pedestrians safe and all. So that went off to the vanishing point on the right. A little bit of thickness for the pavement. Opposite side, and again going off down a street that we can't see due to the height of the buildings. And then I make a mistake shortly. I forget to carry the line around the building and it joins the building, so I have to make a change. There we go. And I go, oops, let's make that a bit longer. But even then, it's only a little skinny one, isn't it? Could have gone a little bit thicker. Wouldn't have had much space for a road. Maybe the one on the other side needed to be a lot thinner. Okay, so this week we are very much drawing the shape of the buildings, and then next lesson we will add some detail. Video 2 is about adding some detail, windows, doors, people, billboards maybe, signage. That's going to be my light source. And that's video 1, guys. I will see you in video 2 maybe next week.